hard to keep inventory in stock and reprints and working with printers. And I can't imagine any publisher is prepared for the amount of sales that are coming in. So I was down to the warehouse today. I know other people are down to the warehouse. Somehow you missed the warehouse laundry.
I just start wearing dresses so I don't have to go down to the warehouse.
Well, I'm not wearing a dress to get out of working in the warehouse, but it was actually, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. We got to get these orders out. So delays, yeah, there's a little bit of a delay. I would say you're probably, I think they're shipping last Thursday's orders. So Thursday and Friday's orders. So, just expect the volume is incredible, and we have all hands on deck plus some, and trying to get that done. So, okay.
I'm laughing because Barbara and Jess are in a contest to see who can comment first every week. Barbara has beat her twice now. I think Barbara was here last. No, Vicky won last week. And Barbara won this week. Jess, come on, you're slacking.
Is Jess in?
Yeah, Jess is in.
Okay.
And then everybody's jumping in and saying hey. Vicky says hot greetings from Texas. Ash says hey from Georgia. TS2 said yay, finally made it to a live stream and not a replay. We're super happy you're here. Lindsay says hello. Awesome. What?
I was watching a movie last night. I haven't gotten all the way through it, so I'm not making this recommendation.
Okay.
But it was a movie about Nelson Mandela and his bodyguards. Mm-hmm. And he wants his bodyguards to smile because he doesn't want the impersonation. And they're not used to it, so they're sitting there just... And so while you were talking, I'm thinking, I wasn't smiling. I was kind of stoic, so I needed to...
Because I don't want the intimidation?
Yeah,
okay, you said impersonation.
Impersonation? No.
Intimidation.
Yeah, so I needed to
smile.
You
need to smile. Yeah. Over in Facebook, people, Bethany says South Georgia, Jennifer's from Oregon, Summer said we appreciate all the hard work to get the orders processed. We appreciate you. Emily says hey, and Laura says looking forward to this.
All right, so let's get started. We're going to talk about Heaven and Earth for Beginners. Now I just have a lifted copy. Marketing broke into the server today, truthfully. Broke into the server today, hacked off the copy.
Hacked off the copy?
Hacked a copy.
Hacked a copy.
Hacked a copy.
He made that copy so mad, he just hacked it off. It's a disgruntled copy.
Oh my goodness, we're off to a really good start. And our mouse keeps going.
Yeah, you keep bumping it. I'm going to take it from you.
Okay.
I'll just do it back here. Okay, here we go.
Okay, so we got a sampling of the Heaven and Earth for Beginners. Now, so let me give you a little backdrop. God's Design for Science has been sold probably for 15 years or better. And I think it was sold by the Lawrences. They sold the rights to publish it to Answers in Genesis. Mm-hmm. Answers in Genesis carried it for a number of years, and Master Books got a license to do a Master Books edition. Now, if you know God's Design, each level has 3 books. And so, let's say Heaven and Earth, there would be 3 books in the original series. There would be Weather and Water, Our Universe, and Planet Earth. The Answers in Genesis edition would have actually been 6 books. We condensed it down to 3 books. We put the Master Books daily schedule into it and made it much more affordable. So the series for grades 3 through 8, God's Design for Heaven and Earth, the retail price is $89.98. If you buy direct from Master Books, you get it for $66.58. The cool thing is you can't buy this anywhere else. You can't buy it on Amazon. You can't buy it at CBD. You can't buy it at Rainbow. This product, our license, only allows it to be sold at Master Books.
Somewhere says a disgruntled copy. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I didn't really
Because
use
he really didn't give it to me, so thank you.
No props there. So that's the series. In the traditional series, we have God's Design for Life, God's Design for Heaven and Earth, God's Design for the Physical World, God's Design for Chemistry, Ecology, recommended for grades 3 through 8. There's different tracks in it, so you can use it. You can have, for 3rd grade, there's a little bit easier track, and your 8th graders, there's a little bit more that they can do, so you can use it for multifamily. Well, what's awesome is they produced God's Design for Life for Beginners last year, which can be used alongside of the Life for grades 3 through 8. So this would be ideal for grades 1 and 2. It's designed to be done 3 days a week, if I'm not mistaken. It is 3 days a week, and you can do them any 3 days that you so choose. Has a daily schedule, supply list, and then the introduction. And so very basic. It's very easy to go along. Is it alive? Some basic information, some tracing, because you're dealing with 1st graders who may not be able to write out all the words, and then some hands-on activities. So this works. This is a great science course for grades 1 and 2. Would go along well with anybody who's doing the life science in grades 3 through 8 with their students. So coming on this, we have the Heaven and Earth for Beginners, and this is designed again for grades 1 and 2. It's 3 days a week. It covers weather and water for beginners, universe for beginners, and planet Earth for beginners. If there's any questions, jump in.
No, we're just jumping in and commenting. Jennifer said she's already sold one to her cousin whose 2nd grader is a storm chaser.
Awesome.
Cassie said that they love Life for Beginners. And then Irina said she'll be doing the new science course with Soil, Sea, and Sky because she thinks they'll complement each other greatly. And then
Good idea.
Marissa said that she just ordered her grade level a few days ago and wished she had seen this sooner, so 2nd order, here she comes.
Yeah, well, the grade level has. Does the grade level have? I think the grade level has Adventures in Creation.
But you can't see when he's looking down.
Oh, no,
he's
the
got
grade-
a catalog here. He's looking through.
Okay, grade level has the Life for Beginners. So if you ordered grade level 2 and it has Life for Beginners, that's also a great course. That would be great. Be great. Gonna be great. Okay. What kind of things do they cover in this course? Well, weather and water for beginners, the atmosphere and meteorology, God-made weather, so important. Atmosphere, the weight of air, study of weather, ancient weather and climate, clouds, storms, weather information, ocean movements, and subflora. That's a lot for a 2nd and 3rd grader. Then when they move into the 2nd book, it's space, models, and tools, outer space, sun and moon, planets, and the space program.
You're good. I'm reading Kristen Ash. She said, I have an up-and-coming 2nd and 5th grader. Can this course also be done together, like the Life is done together?
Yes, and we're developing a schedule that you can combine. It'll help you combine it because they don't go exactly side by side because one's a 3-day a week and the other's 5-day a week. Then Planet Earth for Beginners, the origins and glaciers, introduction to Earth science, the Earth is special, Earth's history, the Genesis flood, the Great Ice Age, glaciers, movements of glaciers. This is a biblical creationist course, and so this certainly falls under our Faith Builder guarantee that if the faith of your child doesn't grow as they do this course, that we will refund your money. You may ask, how are we able to do that?
Are you able to do that?
Because
please, tell me more.
We know that when you view the world through a biblical worldview and you see the evidence, and the evidence confirms the truth of God's Word, your faith is going to grow. Our faith grows all the time. Every time we get a project in here that we're reviewing and reading and studying, it's like faith grown. Awesome. Okay. Rocks and minerals, mountains and movement, water and erosion, and then there's optional activities. and answer keys for each of those. So all 3 of those are combined, and you're going to get, let's see, I'll give you a sample of one of the studies here in just a second. Retail price on that is $36.09. You get the entire course for $27.39. Do me a favor. Take $27.30. I'll do it. Let me do it.
Yeah, you don't want me doing math.
$27.39.
You don't want me doing math.
Yeah. So we're gonna take $27.39 divided by 36 weeks, because that's the week. It's $1.04 a week for science. Wow. I mean, $1.04 a week.
We sound like such an infomercial.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. But legitimately, that is incredible.
It is. You have an entire 1st and 2nd grade curriculum available to you at that. I am trying hard to figure out how to get my phone to work. I have to have certain...
The struggle is real.
Divided by 180, 15 cents a day for a school year. That is amazing.
That is amazing.
Amazing. So,
Kayla asks, would this be too easy for a 3rd grader?
I think you'll still learn some for 3rd grade, but if the it really depends. I know that there are people who use it with 3rd grade, but there's some things like tracing and stuff like that may seem a little bit simple for the student, but it's not going to hurt to do a 3rd grade, especially if you added a little bit and supplemented to it.
Barbara asked if we have something like this for preschoolers. Adventures in Creation might be good tied in a little bit.
Yeah, we will. The Let's Talk Science series, Adventures in Creation, is going to have a K level, hopefully next year. So that would be able to be used at the K level, maybe preschool. Okay, so I'm going to go through and just kind of give a sample. We have supply lists for all the experiments. The experiments are pretty hands-on, but there may be some things that you don't have, like balloons.
I went to type in, trying to track the comments in both Facebook and the app, but they kind of go through quick. So I went to type in Moms of Master Books to pull up that video again because it logged off, and I typed in balloons because you were
Alright, so we have weather and water. As you go through the book, each section, there's like the 3 sections that we have. The first one would be weather and water. The book is amazing. We're going to study Atmosphere and Meteorology, Unit 1, Lessons 1 through 4. Okay. Let's do reading time, story time with Randy. God made weather. What is the weather like right now? God created all different kinds of weather. What kinds of weather can you think of? In most parts of the world, the weather is different during different times of the year. In Arkansas, it's all 4 seasons every day. We call these different times of the year seasons. Do you know what the 4 seasons are called? They're called spring, summer, fall or autumn, and winter. In spring, the winter is often cool and rainy at the beginning, but becomes warmer later on. The weather is usually warm and sunny in the summer. In the fall, the weather starts to cool down. The leaves usually fall off the trees. Winter is when the weather is coldest. Many places get snow in the winter.
Such an official ending. In the winter. Continue on. I kid because I love.
Yeah.
This is my father, by the way, just so you know.
She's a little sleep deprived right now.
I am also very sleep deprived right now.
When the world was first created...
Irina said, the live stream has become our entertainment hour. We're here for you.
Yeah, it wasn't entertaining until you showed up.
I was going to say thank you, but then I was like, wait a sec, I'm not really sure that was a compliment, but I'm going to accept it as a compliment,
It was a compliment.
So thank you.
It was a compliment.
Thank you.
You're much more entertaining than I am. When the world was first created, God said that everything was good, but Adam and Eve sinned and disobeyed God. As part of their punishment, God cursed the earth. This resulted in different weather than before. Later, there was a flood over the whole earth. This made even more changes to the weather. So the weather we have today is different from the weather at creation. Sometimes weather events like storms can be very dangerous, but God is in charge. So you do not need to be afraid of the weather. The Bible tells us that God controls the weather. Jesus spoke to the storm and the wind and the rain, Matthew 8:23-27, and we can be thankful that God is in control. And there's some questions for thought. What do you like to do on a sunny day? What kinds of things do you do on a rainy day? What are your favorite things to do on a snowy day? What are the 4 seasons? Then there's a scripture to trace. What sort of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? And you can see there's lines there to trace it.
Ta-da! Sort of. Da-da-da-da.
There is a preview on the website. Hopefully the digital will be available either later this week or early next week. So they do a little bit of a scripture trace. Then they would do a season, favorite season, fill in the missing vowels of the name of the 4 seasons, then draw a line to match each picture. So we have summer, or spring, summer, fall, and winter. And you can see they gave some tracing, but they left out some of the vowels, so they would have to go and look to see how to spell each of those. Not very complicated, but very engaging. And so that would be the first lesson. And the next lesson goes into the atmosphere, and that, Earth is a special planet, the only planet that has people and animals living on it. The Earth is surrounded by air. Another name for the air is atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is made up mostly of nitrogen and oxygen. And then it goes on to talk about the atmosphere, and continues going through the lessons. So a really good, solid heaven and earth, we would call it an earth science course for 2nd graders. Now, one of the things you'll notice about Master Books is we're a little different than other companies in that we can have multiple solutions for a grade level. So we have God's design for science, which is I like to think of it as a little bit more traditional, a little more knowledge-based. It gives the information, and then you work with the information. I think it does have some Charlotte Mason flavoring, and I think that it can be very comprehensive, and so it does a great job. And it's also very biblically based. It fits the worldview that Master Books promotes. Now, then we also have the Adventures in Creation, which is the Let's Talk Science series. We have books 1, Adventures in Creation. Book 2 is Adventures in the Physical World, which talks about the physical science. And so you have, this would pretty much be your general science. The book 2 would be your physical science. And it's a little bit different of approach. It uses stories and some imagination, so it's got a little bit more of the living story in it, a little bit more of applied learning. There's good experiments in it. A lot of fun in this. So there's 2 different approaches. Honestly, I think if your students want to do more than 3 days a week, you could fit both of these courses in to early learning.
I'm gonna plug our YouTube too. The Adventures in Creation, if you go to our Master Books YouTube and then go to the playlist, we have a Science with Delaney playlist, and she goes through all of the experiments that take place throughout that course.
Yes.
Super fun. Her and her little sister Olivia work through it. Super cute.
So
Looking for it.
I'm looking for Elements of Faith, but I don't see it.
Did I?
Did you take it?
I didn't steal it. I have all of your language arts over here on the floor.
Yeah, I know. My bookshelf is getting torn down, and it's all over here on the floor.
Fun projects coming up.
We have Elements of Faith is another book. If you haven't looked at it, it would be great for a morning basket. You wouldn't have to do the quizzes and tests, so you could very easily break that down and just read a couple of the elements over the course of a year or 2 years. It would be a great complement. It's science. It goes through the periodic table of elements, but does a great job of tying in spiritual truths to it. So that would be just a great morning basket devotional with a science-based perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other
I
questions?
have a bunch of questions, so we're going to get into. Also,
Let's
Julie's just joining, so hi, Julie. It's great
Julie.
to see you. And Vicky asked what grades is the Adventures in Physical World for?
Adventures in Physical World is targeted to grade 2, but again, it's all level-based series, so you could easily use the Adventures in the Physical World for, say, grades 3, 2, 3, maybe even 4 if you supplemented a little bit and thickened it up.
Tara asked, she said, I just did God's Design for Life Beginners with my 2nd grade level daughter, but little sis is coming up in K this year. Would I regret taking my older daughter a bit backwards for Adventures in Creation next year? Will she be bored, understimulated with it, or should I just try to move her up with this?
No, she won't be bored. It's a different topic. So we've got life science in the Life for Beginners. The Adventures in Creation is general science. So it's not going to be like she's repeating the same content. And then the experiments are of different flavor. If you look at the YouTube channel to see, we couldn't wait to get the YouTube videos coming in from
They're
Delaney.
adorable, and Jess said that her 1st grader watches them, and they're adorable. Lenza said, my kids won't let me teach 3 days a week. They wanted it every day. And then Alexia asked, she said, so this will be a grade level up from Adventures in Creation?
No, Adventures in Creation, they go side by side. So Adventures in Creation would be, typically we would put it in a 1st grade package. Next year what you'll probably see in the 2nd grade package would be the Adventures in the Physical World. But the alternatives would be that you could use God's Design for Beginners in there. Let's Talk Science is planned to go from grades K through 6. And so that's going to be the foundational science that we have. In the meantime, the God's Design fell into our lap, and we were able to make that into a Master Books product. Mm-hmm. And so we have that there as well.
Oh, and the app Cat says, why hello, Master Books family. Why hello, Cat.
Hello,
nice
Cat.
to see you. Hopefully, Carrie, his previous answer also answers your question. She asked if you do the beginner courses of the Let's Talk Science Adventure Series, be repeat, or is there enough difference to do both subsequent years? So,
yeah.
Lindsay, go ahead.
Somebody asked about postage in the UK. Yeah, I would. All of these are available in digital, Vanessa. So you could buy the digital files and print them where you live. We have some distributors in the UK.
Cool.
That's
I was
South
gonna
Africa.
say Kurong.
No, Kerrang I think is Australia.
Isn't that what you were?
No, the
You
UK
said
is.
okay, never
UK.
mind. Sorry, my bad.
So we have, yeah, you can buy the digital. We do have the digital available. Anybody who works international. If you're in Canada, we have a good relationship with Canadian resellers there. Canadian Home Education Resource, the Learning House. I know there's a couple of others that I'm not naming. Heritage Resource, I think, is another one. So in Canada, you can get good deals by buying from there. Internationally, we made the decision that we were going to keep all the digital files because we have a lot of people who are missionaries or military, and now, homeschooling seems to be exploding around the world.
Lindsay said, do you think that it would be beneficial if I get this beginners for my 3rd graders to also order the regular one if they have deeper questions or need more in-depth worksheets occasionally?
I'd say I'd base it on your child. If your child is solid 3rd grade and reading well and ready to go, I would go with the God's Design for Life Beginners. They don't need everything that's in that book, but the God's Design for Beginners may be a little bit, maybe just a little bit low for a 3rd grader who's on level and ready to go.
Okay. Just kind of reading through some of the comments in the app or in Facebook. Jumping over to the app to get to questions.
Okay.
Live stream.
Could Element of Faith be glued for a 6th grade? I think good. Element of Faith is designed for junior high, so if you have a very science-minded 6th grader, you could use Elements of Faith for it. I think if they're science-minded and really want to enjoy it. Otherwise, I would save it for a junior high or 9th grade course.
Okay. JJ Griff said, I have a 2nd grader who is very interested in rocks and would love to do this book, but I already bought Life for Beginners this year. Am I correct in understanding that this book, as the beginner book, will go over the same topics that will be taught in the older version of the book versus the beginner book? I hope that question makes sense.
Yeah, they're going to go over the same topics when they do the Heaven and Earth course. They'll go over the same topics in greater detail. Also, if you don't know, do we have one of our favorite books?
The mineral book.
If you don't know this book, if you have a child who's interested in rocks and minerals, this book is really fun. It's a lot of tie-ins to spiritual application, how to identify minerals. Even has, let's see, one of my favorite things that it has, if I can find it. The priest's clothing. So the priest had 12 stones on their garment that represented the 12 tribes of Jerusalem, or of Israel, and the breastplate of judgment was what it was called in Exodus 28. Carbuncle, topaz, sardius, diamond, sapphire, emerald, amethyst, agate, ligure, jasper, onyx, and beryl. And so that would have been what the vest looked like. They had these samplings of stones on the vest. So it ties in even stuff that you wouldn't think of into the biblical model. And there's so much. The hardness scale. I mean, the mineral book, the whole Wonders of Creation series is pretty awesome. The whole Wonders of Creation series is available for like $99 and free shipping in the contiguous U.S. It's a great resource to have in your library. Creation, fossils, caves, oceans, minerals, ecology, archaeology, and they're all really high quality hardcover books.
And glossy pages. And it smells good for all my fellow book sniffers.
It does.
It does. And you don't even like sniffing books.
No, but it's got the new book smell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She said she didn't know about that book, and this is why she loves that we do Q&As.
Absolutely.
We love doing Q&As because it connects us to you, and we get to learn more about you and have conversation with you.
Yes.
And be friends with you. Let's see. Grace and Truth Academy would like to know why I'm sleep deprived. It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
It has been a crazy couple of weeks.
Summer, she said, I have a K in 1st grader. Could I use this? My 4th is using Heaven and Earth, and it would be so great to combine learning with all of my kids. Or should I continue with Adventures in Creation with my K and 1st graders?
I think if you've got a 4th grader that's doing Heaven and Earth, you could use this.
Jennifer said, getting teary-eyed hearing you read about how God controls the weather and we don't have to be afraid. It's such a blessing to have these academic resources that are so integrated with biblical truth to share with my children.
Absolutely. I think it's so vital. You know, most of what I learned when I attended public school was just knowledge, but it was void of truth. What is truth? God is truth. And it was void of truth. And it was void of the fact that he was a creator who had a purpose, who called creation good, and creation was cursed because of man's sin. And I think that it's important for us and our students to realize that God manages, like everything we see. When you go to the Grand Canyon, when our family went to the Grand Canyon, and we've been studying creation science for a lot of years, and so we've seen the evidence and everything else, but when we stepped up to the edge and you see this massive scar, and you just realize this is what judgment looks like because of the flood, and it's not millions of years of erosion and everything else. It is a massive event that took place that just ripped a hole in the earth. It gives you a new appreciation for the might and power of God.
Yeah. I'm laughing because Barbara's like, you book sniffers are weird. She said she's lovingly joking, but totally took offense to that. And then Linda said, book sniffer, funny, I was just talking to my kids about that as I ordered an outdated book, took it out of the package and sniffed it.
An outdated, now that's a whole different
smell. Master Books is the finest smelling books out there. I'm just saying, they're the best books I've ever smelled.
They do have some pretty good because of the glossiness.
Mm-hmm. That high quality book smell.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, you can smell, you know.
Jess said Master Books has the best smell. This is true.
On the book smell scale, it ranks up there. It's in a 9-10.
Sarah Ann said, wow, that is so cool about the armor of God. I had no idea how it would look until you just read that part in the minerals book. So, Vicky said, looking for unusual sciences for 6th grade. Recommendations?
6th grade, my favorite science for 6th grade, zoology. The elementary zoology is one of the home runs for that. Now, God's Design does have it, but if you're looking for one just out of the box, fun, the elementary zoology pack, it has the God's Big Book of Animals, it has the Zoo Adventure, the Creation Adventure, Dinosaur Activity Pack. This book, I need a crane to pull it out. The Big Book of Animals is like...
This is my personal favorite book.
Amazing.
And it smells amazing.
It does. It's got lots of color. It covers a lot of animals. I think I've done videos on this. But it is a awesome book with fun facts, figures. If you don't even do this course, you just need to have this for your library or a doorstop. It'll work for either.
Or a doorstop. It's a beautiful doorstop.
It is a beautiful doorstop.
It's like our multiple uses. Like the other week we did the timeline as a water slide. It doubles as a water slide.
Yeah. If you have a family picture and you don't really like your family, you could put this in its place and look good on a wall mounted behind us. we could replace that. Yep.
We could replace the cow picture with that.
Yeah, no,
true.
we don't want to do that.
Lois said, I hope that's how you pronounce your name, said, brand new to all of this and so much info. It's very overwhelming. I'm very interested in master books, but where do I start with an incoming 4th and 8th grader? Thanks.
I would start looking at the basic package. If you look in the catalog or you go to the website and you type in Basic 4 subject set. So Basic 4 is going to give you kind of the core of what you would need for each grade level. Math, language or English, social studies, and science. So those are what you would basically have for your Basic 4. Then you can add to that art, music, phys ed. Those, we don't have all those courses. But this would give you your Basic 4. Now when you look at it in grade 2 or grade 3, we recommend taking the placement test for math and looking at the readiness guide for the language to make sure that you're placing your student. So we do this mix and match on the website, which allows you to take in any 3 or more subject sets that you purchase, and they have this little icon. Let me see, do we still got the picture in the back? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that little 1, 2, 3 squares that you see on the website, that means that it qualifies that if you have 3 or more of those, we're going to bump the discount from 26% off up to 30% off. And so it'll be the same price as the Basic 4, 30% discount. So that's how we recommend getting started. But if you look at the Basic 4 set first, generally for a student in that age group, that course is going to work.
Yeah. Heidi said, it is such a blessing to have such a biblical curriculum, especially when our kids are not able to go to kids' church thanks to COVID. I feel good knowing my daughter will still be learning about God at her level throughout her homeschool.
Awesome. Thank you, Heidi. One of the things I love hearing is families. We have people who have gotten Master Books curriculum never really been exposed to looking at the truth of God's Word in creation. And so they'll start doing science, and all of a sudden they'll hear for the first time, this is what caused this. And suddenly mom and dad are investigating and buying more resources to try to educate themselves, or visiting the Creation Museum and the Ark and Covenant. Because suddenly it's like there's truth, and it's like once you dig into a vein of truth, you want to keep digging it. That's our story as well. It's really the road that led us to where we are.
Mm-hmm. Gigi Griff asked another question. She said, do you or anyone you partner with sell kits with the needed materials for the science experiments for each year?
No, and we tried packaging it, and the reality is it's too much money to go and get 4 styrofoam cups, a pencil. By the time we did it and put together the kits, it was like $150. Most of the stuff you already have at home, so there may just be 1 or 2 items. I get as a parent that that's probably one of the biggest friction points. But building and maintaining kits for the sales volume that we do is an incredible task. And because household items are used, it's just hard to outsource that. I'm sorry.
Now the chemistry though, we do have.
Well, with Masterclass, we have a biology and a chemistry set for high school. But that uses products that you don't have at home, like fish and stuff.
Like fish and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like fish and chips, but not.
What is it? What's it called when formaldehyde frogs and fish and dissection stuff? Yeah.
Awesome. Fish and stuff. Jen said, when will Adventures and Physical World be available to purchase?
The digital should be available, again, either later this week or early next week. The physical should be available early August.
Just laughed really hard at my fish and chips, but not. Thank you. You didn't really give me it either.
Sorry.
I love that all of you laugh at my jokes, because he doesn't. MK Stoll said, will I be relearning stuff if I do the God's Design for Beginners after or along with Adventures in Creation?
No. No, all of them are different topics. So, having the God's Design, well, Adventures in Creation may touch on some things because it's general science, but Heaven and Earth and Life for Beginners, those two for God's Design are going to be different than general science and physical world.
And last but not least, Caitlin said, do you have a curriculum that can, oh, never mind, 2 questions. Do you have a curriculum that can help a dyslexic child learn to read?
Nothing specific. Now, because of the approach that we use, people have had success using the curriculum, but you know, like any special needs, there's so many variables. So we don't have anything specifically for dyslexia, but because the curriculum isn't overwhelming and there isn't a lot of drill and kill in our curriculum, it seems to work well for students with visual issues.
And Lo said, I know it's busy season for you. What is the turnaround time between ordering and shipping?
Right now, it's 3 to 5 days. But I anticipate that getting harder to keep up with.
We're all going to end up. There's not going to be a single person up in the office at this rate.
No.
It's crazy.
There used to be a video on where guys would they set up a website and everything was good, and then they like high five and the first order comes in, and the next order comes in, they're like, oh, we're going to do this, and then the next order comes in, and then all of a sudden it goes, shh. That's kind of where everybody is right now. They're just staring at the website going, oh my goodness. But there are so many people looking to homeschool that it's what an incredible opportunity to be part of that because of what's going on in the world right now.
Barbara said, I think it was Barbara, because she said that the cow picture always makes her think of chicken and waffle fries. So we always make her really hungry.
Interesting.
And now I kind of want chicken and waffle fries. So thank you for making me hungry. Appreciate it. Irina said, I love this dynamic. Brittany truly adds color to the live stream. Was that funny? You'll laugh at their jokes. That wasn't even a joke. It was a compliment.
I'm sorry. You do add color. Okay.
Cool.
Is that good?
That is good. I want to read Laura's comment though. She said, when we got started with Master Books, I also looked at the placement guide language and the placement test math, and then my kids picked their history and science. Cool.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Thursday I'm going to be doing a teaching tip by myself because you'll be going to New Orleans.
New Orleans, no.
I'm going to be doing a teaching tip on seasons and knowing the season and preparing for the season. Many of the people in this group as homeschoolers or large families, we all go through seasons, we get that. But do we also, as you're coming into homeschooling, do you recognize that that's a new season in life that may require some changes? So we're going to talk about it. We're going to unpack that a little bit.
I should set an alarm and try to beat Jess, Barbara, and Vicky to be the first commenter.
Yeah.
Set your alarm. Be the first person to comment.
As soon as the app goes in. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, hopefully this was helpful and you got some information on this. Feel free if there are some additional products that would be helpful for us to review. We're going to try to be talking about some of those. I know the Practice Makes Perfect pack should be coming in pretty quick. I took it already. That passport book to the U.S. I should have brought that in. That thing is gorgeous.
Is it on your desk?
Aubrey may have a copy.
Do you want me to
We'll cover it. We'll go over
Well,
it
you're gonna
next
do it
week.
without. Oh, next week. Okay, because I don't want to miss that.
Yeah, that course, U.S. Geography and Social Studies, is awesome. Okay, ready?
Ready.
All right, guys, have a good one. I
Bye.
gotta go back to the warehouse.